envy and resentment can be extremely destructive and terrible things. We see that play out when we look at Joseph's brothers and how the resentment of their father's favoritism toward his youngest son drives them to violence and hatred. Similarly, the people in Jesus' parable were willing to attack and kill out of a desire for the landowner's share of the crop and the hope of seizing his property. We can see the damage that envy and resentment can cause to the people who are being damaged, attacked because of it. What we don't see as easily is the damage that envy is doing to the people who wallow in it. Yet that damage is just as real and can be just as horrible in its effects. Israel's sons were so outraged by the fact that Joseph got special treatment and a beautiful garment that they didn't think he deserved, that they missed the fact that their father truly and deeply loved them as well. The tenants in the parable forgot that they were able to have such a good harvest that they wanted to keep all of, only because the landowner did so much work to prepare things for them and allowed them to do work in his land. All they could see is that the landowner was asking for a part of the harvest, and they wanted it all. Their focus was on what they didn't have, at the cost of ignoring everything that they did have. And that focus made them unhappy and angry. So much so that they were willing to lash out at others and even to consider and enact murder. That is an incredible amount of negative emotions to have to deal with. When we are thinking such angry thoughts, such resentful thoughts, it's necessarily causing us to be less happy. And both the sons of Israel and the tenants are actually in stable and relatively prosperous situations with every opportunity to be happy. The only reason they're unhappy is because they choose to focus on the one thing that they don't have. And it's easy for us to fall into the same trap, to take all our blessings for granted and focus on what is missing. That way traps us in unhappiness, envy, and resentment. Hopefully none of us would ever go so deep that we would lash out in murder, but we can still be trapped in the cycle of irritation and snapping at others while causing our own unhappiness. Let's ask for the grace to notice, rejoice in, and be grateful for the blessings we receive, the big ones and the little ones. That will help us live our lives with joy and make it easier to be happy for other people's blessings rather than falling into envy. Because rather than just noticing what is wrong, what is missing, what is unfinished, what's causing us anxiety, we will recognize that we are loved, we are grace-filled, and we're being led by God to all the happiness we need. The more we can focus on that, the more we can be free and live the lives we want to live.